Hello and welcome to another video and podcast from Fantasy Football Scout as we look ahead to Fantasy Premier League Game Week 23. It's team news time. My name is Joe and as ever I'm joined by Fantasy Football Scout's editor Neale. Neale, welcome. How are you?
Not so bad, Joe. Yeah. How are you?
Yeah, good. Good stuff. I'm excited because I've got Erling Haaland still in my side, obviously, forever and ever. And hopefully we'll get some good news about him in a bit as well. Can those in the live chat let us know that you can see and hear us as ever when we are streaming also to Twitter? I cannot see any playback as well, so I don't know whether we are broadcasting, but I hope we are. J77 Lag says... Going to answer it first. Can hear you, Joe. Right, okay. That's good. You got in there actually before I'd said that, which is good because I always say that. Okay, let us... before I move on, I just wanted to remind people there is an offer going on at Fantasy Football Scout for the members area. There's a 7-day free trial that's going on currently at the moment. So we're in the midst of it at the moment. Do check that out at fantasyfootballscout.co.uk so you can get access to all the members area for a few more days. Also, do press that like button and do remember to subscribe so you can keep up to date with our latest videos and podcasts. Everyone in the live chat says they can see and hear us. That is fabulous. FPL Lord, Nicholas, BB Defender, Paul Knights, Matthew Field, FPL, J77 Lag, mentioned before, Rodrev, Rastadu, and many more. Thanks a lot for joining us. Okay, let's start off with Everton against Tottenham. First fixture, Saturday deadline. Let's go with the home side first. Will Decore be winning the match for Everton in the 80th minute with a lung-busting run?
It doesn't look like it, Joe. No, he's been out for a little while with a hamstring injury. He is back on the grass, so he's doing individual work. Mm-hmm. But Dice said yesterday that unlikely was his words. And he usually is on the side of caution. They've got a few other issues as well on top of that. Danjuma was forced off in game week 22. He's a doubt. Ankle injury. Anana missed out altogether on that game. He's got, I think, fluid on the knee, so he's touch and go. And again, when Dice says that, it's generally bad news.
Yep.
Coleman's back in training, short of match fitness though, so maybe just bench duty for him. And then they've also got Dele Alli and Andre Gomez sidelined as well.
Okie doke. And as for Spurs, James Maddison is back, starting, we hope. Well, his owners hope, at any rate. What state are they in for this visit to Everton?
Yes, it's as you were for Spurs on the injury front. Nothing new. They could get Sarr back. He's been away at African Cup of Nations, so I think he will be involved. It's just in what capacity?
Right, yeah.
Probably on the bench.
Okay.
Son, of course, is still away, and Basuma as well. And they've still got Lo Celso, Solomon, Sessegnon and Whiteman out as well. On the subject of Maddison, by the way, I know you said owners will be hoping he starts. Well, I think Postecoglou hopes that as well. He said he wants to get back in Europe, so Maddison's basically got to get used to playing every 3 days.
Well, he has. I tell you what, he's got to catch up on his goal scoring with Neale Maupay, who's beating him currently. And let's hope he doesn't get any relegations, because obviously James Maddison, unfortunately, is winning that battle over Neale Maupay. The far superior player, by the looks of it.
He's a piece of work, isn't he, that
Maupay? I miss him as a Brighton fan. He's absolutely brilliant. I can't use the word on air of what he is, but he's fabulous. Yeah. Brighton against Crystal Palace. I could do with Neale Maupay in this game. How are Brighton set up? I noticed there was a bit of an essay from De Zerbi. He's pretty forthcoming, actually, with a lot of the injury news. But what's the latest from Brighton?
Yeah, not as bad in terms of Pedro. I think when he came off, there was a bit of concern that he might be on the sidelines for a while, but I think they're going to make a late decision on him from what I've seen so far from the press conference. I haven't actually seen it all the way through, but yeah, they're going to decide tomorrow about Pedro. Milner, who also came off in that match, he's going to be out for a little while. I think he said 3 or 4 games. Roughly, so a couple of weeks on that. Ansu Fati could be back. I think he previously ruled him out of this one, but he's going to be bench at best for him. And of course, Veltman and Sisu, March, they're all still out as well. And the 2 international lads, Adingra and Mitoma.
Okay, are they actually fit? I know they're away on international duty, but have they made any appearances? I haven't been
Yes,
following them.
yes, they have. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know. I couldn't see how fit they are, and I'm actually tracked their minutes, but yes, they have been making
Oh,
appearances.
okay. So whenever they come back, they could be ready to go.
Yeah.
But I had Simon Adingra in my side for quite a while, and very good he was too. Cut price. You might need an enabler. Crystal Palace. Now they're going to need Eze and Elise, their goal and assist heroes for this M23 derby clash. How are they set up?
Well, sort of mixed news on those two. Alicia should be fine. Hodgson said this afternoon that it was partly precautionary, his withdrawal.
Okay.
He was told before the game to alert the bench if he felt any kind of discomfort, and he did that. And Hodgson says unless anything happens in training, then he expects him to be fit. Not so good news on Eze. So he faces a scan. His substitution definitely wasn't precautionary, and it wasn't pre-planned. So he came off with, I think, tightness on his hamstring. He's going to have a scan today, I think. Okay. So they don't know what the result of that is. Hodgson didn't rule him out of this one, but I mean, any kind of damage, even if it's the most minor strain, then he's not going to feature. But yeah, so Alicia, definitely of the two, he's got the better chance. Right. Joel Ward is nearly back. He'll be back game week 24. And Decore and Holding are out long term. They've got two new signings as well, Munoz and Adam Wharton, and they're both available.
Okay, righty-o. Those in the live chat pointing out, BB Defenders pointing out that Matoma came off the bench for the last 30 minutes in the last match for Japan.
Bahrain, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Which is great. And Mahomie asks if I'm off to a game this weekend. No, I'm not. But I will in a couple of weeks. Cheltenham v Port Vale. Going to be an epic. Okay, Burnley against Fulham. Well, this the Garden Centre clash. How are the home sides set up for this, fresh from their defeat at Man City?
Yes, it's classic company. Unfortunately, he's hinted that one of his injured players could be back. So the three that are flagged, yellow flagged, are Jordan Bayer, Charlie Taylor, and Han Delcroix. And he said that maybe one of the names you mentioned there could be back, but for the rest, he doesn't know. Kolioshu and Redmond are out long term.
Okay, problems up front for Fulham, but did I read that Broja has been signed on loan by them?
He certainly has. I stayed up until
you've just gone silent.
12:30 for this when I get confirmed last night because I was manning the Scout Live blog. Sorry,
you just gone momentarily quiet.
I am back now. I hope.
Yeah, you're all back now.
Yeah, I was up late for this one last night. Willing this one to go through. Yes, he's available. But of course, Silva gave his press conference yesterday before deadline day, so we don't know if Broja is going to be involved or not because he hasn't faced the media today. Over those injuries from midweek, Jimenez is out for, it sounds like weeks. Don't know how many just yet. Same with Diop as well. Same problem, it's a hamstring. So they're injured, as are Harry Wilson, Adama Traore, and then Iwobi and Bassi are away on international duty still.
Okay, rightio. Okay, so yeah, Broja could be playing for Fulham. Who knows? Could be starting. Newcastle against Luton. Your side against, well, maybe a better side after beating Brighton last time out. But it is away for Luton and at home. Who's going to start up front though for Newcastle? Who's injured? Who's fit?
Yeah, well, Jason Tyndall took the presser this morning because Eddie Howe's ill. Should still be in the dugout tomorrow. And he sort of played everything with a bit of a straight bat. The update sounded positive, but they weren't concrete. So, for example, Isak, he said he's a lot better. He's improved on Wednesday, Thursday, and then this morning there's an improvement, and he's got a chance to be involved. Okay. I was watching Sky Sports News when this was on, and then the reporter, Keith Downey, said that he'd be amazed if Isak's actually involved. So I don't know if he knows something. Okay. And if he does miss out because Wilson's on his way back and only just on his way back, then it would be Gordon, I think, up top for that. Okay. On the subject of Wilson and Harvey Barnes, they're very, very close. I think could be involved tomorrow, possibly on the bench.
Okay.
Willock's a little bit behind those two, but not far away. Lascelles is very close as well to a comeback. If not this one, then the next one. So they're getting bodies back really gradually. Still got Joe Linton out, Talani, Pope, Anderson, and Target, but it's a lot less severe than it was.
Okay. We had a question in the live chat about Estupinan. He was substituted in the last game. I presume that was tactical because they just conceded loads. He wasn't withdrawn for any fitness reasons or injury.
I've not seen anything
No.
on that. I'll delve into that before I do the predicted lineup later on.
Okay.
But he made a couple, I think, at halftime, didn't he? And
Yeah.
Estupiñán is just back, and they were they already 3-0 down at halftime, so it's probably just
They brought Lamptey
preservation.
on. I think it's because I think the last time Brighton got soundly beaten by half time was against Villa, and Estupiñán came off, and it
He
turned
did.
out that he was injured for quite a
He
while.
did, yeah.
So that's probably why people are asking. But
Yeah.
as far as I know, it's tactical. Unless any embargoed comments come out a bit later about that, I'm fairly certain he'll be okay. For Luton, how are they set up?
Yeah, they've got a trio of players back. Mengi and Brown back from injury, and then Kabori's back from Cup of Nations as well.
Right, yeah.
So that just leaves Anderson, Nakamba, and Lockyer out.
Right, Sheffield United against Aston Villa. Sheffield United hosting Aston Villa this time around. With the home side, they'll be their fans will be hoping that Diaz is fit. He's been quite the sensation for them since he's arrived. Is he? Do you think he'll be fit?
Yes, he is. Yeah, Burton Diaz is in contention. It was a precautionary withdrawal at half time in midweek. And Wilder said yesterday he's going to be okay. Not so good is Gerbic, the new goalkeeper. He's got a concussion, so he's definitely out of this one.
Okay.
Wilder said potentially 7 to 12 days, so that might even rule out of the next one.
Okay.
It's usually 6, I think, the protocol, but it depends on the severity of it.
Yep.
Davies and Lowe are very close to returns that we think, and then Basham, Egan, and Baldock are still out injured, and Brewster is suspended.
Okay, and as for Aston Villa, Pau Torres is off on the first question at the moment. Is he likely to return?
No, but he's not too far away based on the quote I've seen this afternoon. So he is in individual training and is better, according to Emery. And then they hope he's going to return to team training next week. So potentially game week 24 for him. I've not actually seen anything on Digne yet because Emery was the last of the managers to deliver his press conference this afternoon. His original time frame was around about now. So I don't think he's too far away unless there's been a setback. But definitely out are Mings and Buendia, and we think John Duran as well.
Okay, rightio. Let's move on to Bournemouth against Nottingham Forest. Go with Bournemouth first because the Nottingham Forest, yes, I have included the tweet. It came in about 5 minutes before we went on air. But Bournemouth, let's go with them first. What's the latest?
Yeah, Utara's back from the international duty that he was on with Burkina Faso. They've still got Aarons, Hill, Adams, and Fredericks out. Irola said there was no new injury scares from midweek, though.
Okay.
They have signed somebody late last night, a new striker from Spain, Enes Unal, Turkish international. He's working on his visa in Spain. So if that doesn't get sorted by tonight or tomorrow, and he can't train on Saturday, then he's very unlikely to feature on Sunday. So it all depends on what happens with the red tape this afternoon.
Okay, where would he fit? I mean, obviously he's not going to replace Solanke.
No, he's going to be back up at first because they just let Kiefer Moore go to Ipswich. And Unal, who actually got a decent track record in Spain, has just returned from 9 months out with an ACL. He's just played a couple of games, so he's going to be a while before he's back up to any kind of fitness.
Okay, rightio. And as for Nottingham Forest, what's the latest there? I mean, they've usually got quite a lengthy injury list.
Yeah, it's not looking too bad, but Nuno hinted that there might be 1 or 2 new issues. So they've still got Orias, Sangare, Body and Ian away at African Cup of Nations. Nia Carty's back from that because of Senegal's elimination. Kouyaté was part of that Senegal team as well, but he's been granted a bit more leave on compassionate grounds. Nuno Tavares is back. He was ineligible to face Arsenal. So the only flagged injured player was Origi, who's not being used anyway. But Nuno said this afternoon that they've got problems. And they have to wait and see, I think, on a few players. He mentioned that they've been playing a long string of games with the same players. He hasn't been able to rotate, so I think that's maybe had some repercussions, but didn't mention who.
Okay, moving on to Chelsea against Wolves. I understand Chelsea annoyed a French club in the transfer deadline. Didn't send a fax or something like that. Is that the case? They were
Was it
trying.
Chelsea? Was it not West Ham?
Oh, was it West Ham? Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm so used to insulting Chelsea that I thought it was them. Sorry, yeah, West Ham. We'll come to them in a sec then. Chelsea, who obviously their fax machine is working. What is the latest from the Chelsea camp?
Colwell's still unlikely to feature. He's got a minor tendon problem, but Pochettino said he doesn't believe he's going to be fit. Chalobah, they're waiting on the medical department giving him the green light. Jackson's back from African Cup of Nations, so he could be involved. They're still without Lavia, Ogochukwu, James, Cucurella, Sanchez, and Fofana. And there was a line on Nkunku as well. He came off the bench against Liverpool, scored, played 45 minutes. And Pochettino says they're going to assess him and see if he can start. But he did stress that they're going to have to be careful with him after so long out.
Okay, yeah, no, it was Chelsea. I was thinking it was possibly not a fact. It was Malang Sarr is going to remain at Chelsea. He was to move to Le Havre.
I thought you were talking about Benrahma going to Lyon because
no. It was I was referring to him. But yeah, that was a much touted move that fell through at the last minute, I think, which annoyed that French side.
Didn't even know Malang Sarr was still there.
No, I don't think Chelsea did. That's probably why they messed up the deal. Wolves, how are they featuring for this?
Yeah, I've not heard much team news from O'Neale. I think possibly because they were playing last night and maybe his press conference was an embargoed thing. But we're not aware of any injuries anyway because Sarabia came back last night and he was the only injured player. They still got Traore away at African Cup of Nations and they still got Hwang away at the Asian Cup.
Okay, rightio. Let's move on. Manchester United, free scoring Manchester United against West Ham. Well, this could have some goals in it. Bowen and co are pretty good. Well, historically this season, been pretty good on the counter, pretty good on the road. Manchester United surprisingly keep scoring at the moment. Resurgent there. So how are Manchester United set up for this?
The team is not going to affect many fantasy managers, but there's quite a bit to report on. Lindelof's back in training, he could feature. Amrabat's back in training as well, or about to train after his return from AFCON. Martial's out. Malacia, they don't think is going to be back. Mount again. Ten Hag said he thinks he's going to feature again this season. Just setback after setback for him. Wan-Bissaka's doubtful as well. He's got a leg issue. Okay. It seems all right on Martinez. He came off and I think he was spotted with a nice pack on his foot. But Ten Hag said it was precautionary. So
okay, right, yeah. And for West Ham, what's the latest from them? I mean, you were mentioning there was some transfer issues there, but what is the latest? Who could be ready for this?
Yeah, Benrahma was the man at the centre of that. He's banned anyway, so he can't feature in this one. Paquetá is unlikely. Antonio's unlikely. Antonio's at least back on the grass, so he's getting there. Koufal's back. He was banned. And Aguerd's back from African Cup of Nations as well. But otherwise, Moyes said he couldn't really tell us much on the team news front because his press conference was like 12 hours after the Bournemouth game, so not much information.
What was the latest with Benrahma, by the way? I didn't actually notice that.
Well, the deal fell through at the last minute, I think, and Leon blamed West Ham for it. But I think this afternoon they've appealed to FIFA and they've given them possibly special dispensation for the transfer to go through. So he still might leave, even though we're long after the deadline. Okay,
rightio. Final couple of games, and they're big ones, really. Arsenal against Liverpool. I mean, absolutely must win from Arsenal's point of view. If they've got any hopes of getting the title. They've got Liverpool, but Liverpool might be without a particular player. Let's go with Liverpool first, because this is quite big news. And it's very well-owned striker by a number of people. What's the latest news from Liverpool?
Yeah, Darwin is a concern. He actually lasted the full game against Chelsea. We didn't think there was any sort of issue, but apparently he had his foot trodden on early in the game, and then he left the game, left Anfield in a protective boot.
Okay.
They've had a scan, no damage, so nothing's come back on the X-ray, but it's still swollen. And they're going to have to assess him to see if he can get back into a football boot and not a protective boot.
Right.
If you've got a swollen boot, then you might need to go up a couple of sizes.
Okay.
So that he's now flagged.
Yeah.
And we'll maybe keep our eyes peeled on any sort of training ground images over the next few hours.
Blurry images of him in the background.
Yeah, of a hairband. Yeah. Nothing much else from Klopp on the injury front.
No.
Salah was previously ruled out this game, and then he alluded to him being out in this presser.
Yeah.
He was pictured doing some running this week. They were jogging, I think some light jogging.
Yeah, it
So
was just on his own, looking
yeah,
lonely.
maybe game week 24.
Possible, yeah. I mean, if
Yeah,
I personally, I mean, if Liverpool have a double game week, by the time you watch this, we may or may not know that.
Yeah.
But if they do in game week 25, obviously, and he is fit and able to play, then he's going to be a must own. But yeah, game week 24, we'd probably want to see him on the bench
Yeah.
at least for that. Meanwhile, with Arsenal as well, the reason I've gone for them second is because I understand there's nothing sort of new around
No.
sort of existing players that we may or may not own.
No, not that I've seen. Not that Arteta would tell us anyway. But he has at least been good enough to alert us to the fact that Partey's had a setback, another one. So he's going to be out. It's the same issue. So he's going to be out for this one and beyond. Apart from that, yeah, I don't think there's much to report. They've still got Timber out injured, and Tomiyasu's still at the Asian Cup. But El Neni could be back because he's Egyptian, and they're now eliminated from the AFCON.
Okay, so those with Darwin might, if they've got some money in the bank, consider possibly getting a certain Erling Haaland back. He's back off the bench. Once again, let's go with the away side first because it's always big news. But what has Pep been saying about Haaland and potentially his chances of starting this one?
Well, he said he's ready to start, but then he said that about De Bruyne ahead of game week 21, and he said it ahead of the FA Cup as well, and he was benched on both occasions. Nothing of use really from this press conference. Just to summarise, he said everyone's fit, everybody's ready, and basically as soon as they're back on the bench, which Haaland was in game week 22, then they're ready to start. But it's whether he starts or not. That's the big question.
Right. Yeah.
Stones is fine, by the way, after his 90 minutes against Burnley, and everyone is unflagged and training and fit.
Rightio. So those like me with De Bruyne and Haaland who are considering the captaincy, that's still a tough choice. My instinct would say Haaland, but yes, now I just think maybe there is enough doubt to say De Bruyne might be more likely to start this one. But yeah,
it's tough, isn't it? Because I mean, is he going to manage De Bruyne now he's back? The good thing about that is it's a sort of 5-day turnaround. It's a Monday night game, so if it had been Wednesday, Saturday, I don't think De Bruyne would have started 2 in a row.
No.
But he's got a bit of extra recovery time. And now, if Alvarez hadn't scored twice, then he'd be maybe more convinced about Haaland scoring. But he might not risk him for this one. It's a matter again, much like De Bruyne. It's a matter of when, not if. I might get Haaland in regardless because I've got the money to upgrade Archer, and that's a hell of an upgrade.
Yeah.
So I'll probably do it anyway. But I'm not 100% that he'll start.
Yeah, I mean, I'm minded to captain Kevin De Bruyne at the moment instead of Haaland. I think he's still for this one good enough to own. I think you're still going to get a share of his points. He won't be 100% owned. He'll be captained by some, but not everyone. Okay, and the home side, Brentford, not forgetting them. I presume they'll be set up in their usual 3 centre backs, sort of five-man back line, and which has been very effective against Man City in the past. I'm assuming that's how they'll set up. But yeah, how will they set up personnel-wise?
Yeah, well, they're going to get Reguilon back because he was ineligible to face Spurs. Injuries are the same, though. They've still got Mbeumo out, as well as Hickey, Sharda and Henry. Godos is still at the Asian Cup. They might get Wissa and Onyeka back if they're eliminated today.
Okay.
Because they're in African Cup of Nations action. And Brentford's playing on Monday, so they could feasibly turn around and be back in West London for that. But I would suspect as substitutes because there's the tight turnaround. But yeah, they could recover those two if they are eliminated today.
Okay, let's try and round up most of that as well. I mean, a lot of the news is sort of existing injuries, so I haven't included a lot of them. But it looks like Elise could be fit to play, questionable or fit to play, sort of somewhere in between, but certainly more than Eze. Martinez for Manchester United should be fit to play. Questionable. Taylor with the shoulder injury still at Burnley. Bayer as well could be back like Taylor, but we just don't know. Very questionable there. And Kunku fitness could mean that he doesn't start this one, but we don't know yet. Could do. Eze hamstring going for a scan, so we don't know that, hence being questionable still. Darwin Núñez, and that's the big news really. Got that foot injury, but it might be okay. It might not be as serious. It might not keep him out of that game. Isak groin issues will keep possibly keep him out. Very questionable, though, at this stage. If he does, then Gordon obviously go up front. You would think. Pedro got a knock for Brighton, late fitness test for him, and Fatty as well. Fitness issues could prevent him starting, but he might get a role off the bench. Major doubt Decore, fitness issues at Everton, and Wan-Bissaka with a knock. They're definitely out, though, is Jimenez with hamstring issues, Levi Colwell, tendon. Wilson is sort of out, between out and major doubt. Could play, you never know, could surprise everyone. But fitness concerns probably rule him out. Paqueta with a calf issue, and Milner is going to be out for a few weeks for Brighton, so he won't be coming in midfield. Well, a range of roles he can play, but muscle injury will keep him out for a few weeks. So that's most of them there. Most of those I could fit in there. Pau Torres obviously still out as well, but didn't have time to fit him in. Okay, it's good to be back to normal with a normal game week. Deadline on a Saturday, team news on a Friday, and we'll be back next week as well, ahead of game week 24. Thanks so much for joining me, Neil. Thanks everyone who joined us in the live chat. Do remember to press that like button. Do remember to subscribe as well if you're not already, to keep updated with our latest videos and podcasts, and to check out members offers at fantasyfootballscout.co.uk. There is a 7-day free trial going on at the moment. Do check that out. Thanks a lot for joining us. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you soon, Neil.
Bye, Joe. Bye, everybody.